So I'd like to thank the music team and also Trina for reading. Last week I talked about sprinkling kindness like confetti, doing what was yours to do to spread love on this planet, to make love creep into all those crevices of each one's being so that we can have a more loving world. And today I want to talk a little bit about an extension of that, which is looking at the love that's within each of us. Finding that love within is easy if we believe the words in the song that we just heard, "Where I am, God is." And not only that, the source of our joy for the rest of our life, well, you know me, I love that line. So I have a question for you. What is the one choice that you can make today to fully reveal all the love that lives in you, always coming from a place of integrity and authenticity? What is the one choice that you can make today to fully reveal all the love that lives in you, always coming from a place of integrity and authenticity? And today's topic, while it's about love within us, it's not about all kinds of love. It's specifically about the love that lives within each of us. And why do I make that distinction? Well, Khalil Gibran wrote, "Your friend is your needs answered. He is your field which you sow with love and reap thanksgiving." And that's the outer love, the love we get from our family, from our friends, when we're seeking safety or comfort or understanding. It's the love of two or more gathered together as a community. And that love is a result of the love that lives within us, expressing itself. And Gibran was definitely right when he said that we reap the thanksgiving, because when we feel safe and we feel comforted and we feel a connection with other people, the result is that we really do have thanksgiving in our hearts for all that love that appeared. And today what I want to talk about is doing all we can do to recognize and then to expand the love that lives within each of us. There's a story about the love of true friendship. There were two men who grew up together. They went to school together and then they studied together and spent most of their childhood and their early adulthood together. And after they were grown and got married and had children of their own, one of them, Samuel, moved away to another country. Well, now Samuel and Jacob still wanted to be connected, so they agreed to visit each other once each year. And it was Jacob's turn to visit, and he was headed towards the city where Samuel lived, and naturally he wanted to see his friend, but he was a little bit doubtful because Samuel was living in a country where at the present time there was war. And it was dangerous for Samuel to actually be visiting. And when he got to Samuel's city, it happened to be nightfall, and before he could get to his friend's house, he was arrested by the police. And the police charged him with being a spy, trying to steal military secrets. Well, Jacob went to trial immediately. He was found guilty and sentenced to be hanged. And that's really a terrible fate for somebody who just wanted to visit his friend. So Jacob was very sad. And as he was sitting in the jail waiting his hanging, he thought about his wife and his children that he had left behind, and he was weeping tears. And they came to his cell, and as was the custom in that country when someone was being hanged, the king came to watch. So seeing the king, Jacob fell to his knees and started begging, "Gracious king, I'm innocent of this wrongdoing. I didn't commit these horrible crimes, and I just ask you one favor. Please give me 1 week to bid farewell to my wife and my children and to make sure that they're provided for in the future. I give you my word, my solemn pledge, that I will return to face my fate in 1 week." Well, naturally, the king laughed. He says, "Look, my courts found that you were a spy. Now you want me to grant you a 1 week leave? how do I know that your promise is worth anything? And how can I know that you'd return? And before Jacob could answer the king, a man pushed his way through the crowd. It was Samuel. And he said to the king, I will make sure for you that this man's pledge is kept. I'll take his place in jail. And if he doesn't return in a week, you can hang me. Well, the king was astonished. Who would offer to take somebody's place that was about ready to be hanged? And so the king said, who are you? And he says, well, my name is Samuel, and this man has been my friend ever since we were children. I know that he is a good man, and I know that this trouble has befallen him in my city only because he was keeping his commitment to me to come visit. So please let him go and take care of his household. I promise to stay in his place. Well, the king was so moved by Samuel's words that he agreed to let Jacob go home for a week. And the week passed, and the gallows were ready. And of course, this switch was the talk of the town. Why would somebody do that? Why would somebody put their life in jeopardy? Well, the time for the hanging came, and Jacob had not returned. And of course, everybody in the town said, oh, well, we knew he wasn't going to come back. They didn't expect him to. So the king and the nobleman came to the town square. A large crowd had gathered because they wanted to see what was really going to happen. Samuel was brought from the jail, and night fell. And when the moon appeared and the stars were in the sky, the king gave the order, let the hanging of this man take place. So the hangman was putting the noose around Samuel's neck when there was this loud cry, wait, I'm here. Don't harm my friend. I'm here to receive my own punishment. And there was Jacob making his way up the crowd. The people in the crowd were cheering and clapping their hands. And the king was very touched by this great sense of loyalty of his two friends. Because of the true friendship, the king says, I will pardon you, and you can both go free. And turning to Jacob and Samuel, he says, there's only one condition. Please let me be your third friend. This is the true love of friendship. Gibran was talking about this when he said that friendship is sown with love. And I think in this case, it was sown even more. So the love within Jacob was so strong that he chose to honor his commitment to his friend, even amidst the dangers of war. And Samuel's love was so strong that he was willing to sacrifice his own life to allow Jacob to have time to go back and return to his family and do what needed to be done. Jacob returned because the strength of his love was about honoring the integrity of who he was and what he said. A love that expands beyond personal needs to knowing and doing what's right. But I think the end of this story tells it all. The king just wanted to be their third friend because he recognized the depth of the true love that lived within each of them. And that brings us to another aspect of the love that lives within us. And that's love that comes from us always feeling safe. So what does it mean to come from love? I remember a time when I was sitting in the library of my home in Indiana, shortly after my son had been diagnosed with what I felt at the time was really a death sentence. And I was trying so hard to be strong. I was trying to stand in my faith and know that I could bear any burden that was given me because I had deep faith. And deep within me, there was something that was just screaming for help. And Papa walked into the room. And all he had to say was, you don't need to be strong. Just let it be. And my heart just opened up, and of course I cried. And Papa's love for me allowed me to release everything that was in me, the fear, the tears, the worry, because this mask that I'd been wearing of being strong amidst all of this chaos that was going in my life was building a dam in me that was placing this block over the love that lived within me. When things come from a place of love like Papa had done, he could see and hear with his heart beyond what I was saying. Oh, I know it's going to be okay. I know by the time he gets a little bit older, they'll have this cure and this cure. I mean, I had all of the responses down pat. But I was just going through the motions. It was the love within Papa that allowed me to see that my act was really just a mask. That opening song says, "Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. No one else can lighten my load." But Papa made it possible for me to lighten my load. Jean Houston says that we have all the extraordinary coded within us, just waiting to be released. I invite you to allow your extraordinary to be released by tapping fully into the love you have within you. Because wherever you are, God is. And when we listen with our heart as well as our ears, when we listen to see with the third eye, that eye of compassion and wisdom, we're tapping into that love that's within us. Here's the hard part. Do this with yourself as well as with others. So a lot of us are very good at expressing love. But to release the extraordinary that's coded within you, all of the masks that you sometimes hide behind, you have to let go of. You have to allow yourself to actually be seen for who you really are and not who you want other people to see you as. And when your heart is exposed, are you good at doing that? Are you good at still staying connected, even though you might be a little bit concerned with how others might perceive you? Ernest Holmes, who's our founding father, said this: "A realization of our oneness with omnipresence brings peace." When all of our masks are dropped, the love that lives within us can be fully revealed. And we can be at peace with ourselves because no part of our connection with the infinite is covered up. It doesn't matter how thin the veil is or whether it just shows up every once in a while. The essence to our finding the love that lives within us and to us being able to be that extraordinary person is finding the love and noticing the masks that we wear. People wear all kinds of masks. People laugh at somebody's jokes just because they think it might look good especially if it's like their boss or somebody that could influence their life. We see young girls going out of their way to stay thin because that's what they think society expects of them. They need to be skinny. They need to have a certain image. And so rather than, like a lot of young girls, occasionally eating a burger or some ice cream, they just work all the time at not eating much of anything. Some husbands and wives scream at each other every night, but when they're out in public, you would think that they were the perfect couple. There's hundreds of people who, when their hearts are breaking and somebody asks how they're doing, they say fine. You know, I think that fine sometimes in our new universal language is, I'm in a state of total misery, and I'm not talking about it. So can you relate to witnessing or even doing some of these types of behaviors? Those are the veils that we lay over the love that lives within us, diminishing that love. Richard Bach said, "The worst lies are the lies we tell ourselves. We live in denial of what we do, even what we think. And we do this because we're afraid. We fear we'll not find love, and when we find it, we're feared we're going to lose it. And we fear that if we do not have love, we will be unhappy." This is when love being your decision is so important. Tapping into those masks and veils that we use to hide each other. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart, and no one else can tell me to start. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, ask yourself, are you going to meet the world wearing a mask of a person that you're not? Are you going to actually see the word fully with that love that lives within you? And by the way, if you're an older person like me and say, oh, I don't really wear masks, I invite you to consider this question. Might it possibly be that the mask is so stuck on you that you don't even know you're wearing it? Now, people that love us know the truth of us, so we don't fool them very much. So if you want to see if you're wearing any mask, ask a good friend. Ask somebody that you trust. You don't have to accept what they say, but they might give you some insight into where there's a part of you that you're not allowing that love that lives within you to show up. You realize that everyone you know is possibly putting up a facade or a pretense at some level. Even me. We all have our little ways that we're afraid that if we really were truly ourselves in that particular way, people wouldn't love us anymore. It goes back to that. We fear we're not going to find love, and if we find it, we might lose it or be unhappy because we don't have it. We all have those facades and those veils that we're trying to hide from others. Have you ever seen a friend of yours do something that you thought was absolutely not in character for them? And you thought, gee, I thought I knew her, but she would have, I just can't believe that she did that. When we discover that somebody has actually maybe taken off the veil and done something that's a little bit edgy for them or whatever it might be, how do we react? Do we give them the benefit of the doubt, or do we judge them? When we tap into the love within us, we bypass the righteousness, the judgment. We go straight to acceptance of whatever our friends and family and those that we encounter are doing. We become the kind of friend that Samuel was to Jacob. And I'm sure that the two of them were to the king as time went on. So Ernest Holmes, in The Science of Mind, wrote, if one sees only unloveliness in others, it's because unloveliness is a strong element in himself. The light he throws on others is generated in his own soul and sees them as he chooses to see them. The truth of each of us is that love must be expressed, and the way we see others is a factor in how well we are expressing that love that lives within us. Holmes also wrote, life is a mirror and will reflect back to the thinker what he thinks into it. So the love we express is a reflection of that mirror. It reflects back at the level that we're willing to unveil all of those masks that we've put on top of the love that lives inside of us. There's a story about a woman that visits her friend in the hospital, and she's cleaning the infected sores that are festering on her friend's body. And this person walks down the hall and sees her doing it, and he just says, I wouldn't do that for $1 million. And without missing a beat and without pausing in her work, she says, neither would I. We do things when love comes from within that we wouldn't do, that there's no amount of money that people could pay us to do it. So what do you do for love that no amount of money would have you do? Think about that for just a second. What would you do for love? Some of us would care for spouses that have become ill because they've spent years and years with that spouse. There's all kinds of things that people would do for love that they wouldn't do for money. Those are the things that allow you to fully live from the love that is within you. Those are the things that allow the extraordinary within you to be released. Our music today about knowing God is in me said we spread love all around. No need to wander. Be found in who we are. In Colossians 3:14, it says, above all these put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. Just thinking about everything being bound together in perfect harmony with love makes my heart want to just sing. Can you imagine what the world would be like if everything were bound together with perfect harmony? I know that God is in me and I can spread love, big love. I can reveal all those veils and feel safe. So I'm going to challenge you this week to live from that love that lives within you. To notice your veils, your mask, those things that cover up, create a dam over all that love that lives within you and makes it harder for it to get out. And then focus on just one of those masks and let the love that lives within you shine forth as you get rid of that mask. Give the benefit of the doubt to yourself and to other people. Remember, you're the only one that can show the world all the love that lives within you. No one else can do that for you. Michael Beckwith wrote, as you devotedly court the divine presence within you, you are simultaneously cultivating the original expression of spirit that you are. Conducting this romance with the infinite satisfies and thrills the soul as nothing else can. And that is so profound that I want to read it one more time. As you devotedly court the divine presence within you, you are simultaneously cultivating the original expression of spirit that you are. Conducting this romance with the infinite satisfies and thrills the soul as nothing else can. That's the way the love that lives within us shows up. Let us pray. So just taking this opportunity to breathe in the God that is right where we are. To breathe in all the love and the ease and the grace and the peace and the joy that God is. To know that we can cultivate that original expression of spirit that we are. We can conduct this romance with the infinite that thrills our soul and allows us to just live without any veils and without any mask. So what I know for each of us this week is that we're aware of the love that lives within us. And we're aware of all the places that we might be putting a thin veil over that love out of fear, out of worry, whatever the expression might be, the reason that you might be hiding some little part of you. And I know that each of us is becoming aware this week of how we can lift those veils so that we can truly express all the love that lives within us. Truly allow that extraordinary within us to be released fully so that we can live with our soul being thrilled and satisfied with exactly who we are. So I am grateful. I am so grateful to know that the God without is the God within me. I'm grateful to know that wherever I am, God is. That wherever any person is on this planet, God is right where they are. And I'm grateful to know that love is my decision. And I can dance down that road. So it's from all that gratitude that I just release these words into the law of mind, spirit, and action. Because I know that the divine has already said, wow, look at all those hearts that are expanding and allowing all the love that lives within them to come out. How beautiful is that? So I just say amen. And together we can affirm it. And so it is.